So it finally happened. Yeah, that happened. That happened right now. But it finally happened. I was able to get my hands on an NES Classic. Thankfully, I didn't pay the Amazon or eBay prices for it. But today I wanted to kind of open it up, hook it up, try out some of the games on it, and then compare it to my RGB Modded top loader NES 101 model. And honestly, kind of see if weigh our options here. Like, is this still worth getting even at scalper prices compared to an RGB Modded NES? Let's take a look. Alright, so as you all know, the NES Classic came with 30 games pre-installed, all the Marios, Zeldas, Kirby's Adventure. A couple of random things like Balloon Fight also. Not really a game I recall much, but I mean, I guess people like it. Alright, let's get this tab open. It's really hard to do one-handed. This box is actually a lot smaller than I was expecting, but I mean, it's NES Mini, so looks like we've got a poster and else in there. Cool. So right off the bat, we've got the box itself. That is, yeah, that is very tiny. That's amazing. Like, I've seen pictures and stuff, but I just really have nothing to compare it to until I can actually see and hold one in my hand. Once again, this would be a lot easier with two hands, so we're just going to use two hands. There we are. And there it is. There's the back with the HDMI port and USB port. And the front with reset and power. Ooh, the power button even feels like a real NES. That's amazing. Reset is just a click button, but oh, that power button's amazing. I cannot get enough of that. Okay, enough playing with the power button. And then, of course, the two classic controller ports. Bottom of the thing has a bunch of stuff. And the top is very pretty. I really wish that front flap opened, though. That would have made it, like, the greatest thing ever. And then, of course, we've got our very short-cabled classic NES controller. Alright, sorry about that. There we go. There it is. Ooh, that feels really good. I was just playing Super Mario Bros. 3 on a real NES all weekend, so this feels really good compared to that 30-year-old controller I was using. Holy crap. Then power brick. And something else I can't get to. This box is a little bit of a pain, I'm not gonna lie. Come on now. Okay, maybe from this side. Gotta be smarter than the box, people. Be one with the box. There we go. That's how you be one with the box. So, HDMI cable, pretty decent length, and micro USB cord. Excellent. So that does it for the unboxing. Alright, so I got it hooked up and it's prompting me to do some initial setup. And that was apparently it on the main menu now. This is a really nice menu. I'm actually pretty fond of this. Tells you which games are 2-player, which ones are 1-player. Ghosts and Goblins, nice. Mega Man 2, Pac-Man, Punch-Out, Star Tropics. So, the games that were included on this thing are pretty freaking awesome. I like that they actually have both Zeldas together under Z. I would have preferred under L, but I mean, this one wasn't even considered Legend, which is Zelda 2, so I like that they just grouped them together instead of having them split off into two separate categories. But, alright. Let's see here, suspend points. Oh, here we go. let's go with, we're gonna go with Pixel Perfect. That'll be our best representation. And let's try playing some Mario Brothers 3. Like I said, I just spent all weekend playing this game on an actual NES on a CRT. And so far, I'm really liking this experience. This feels pretty good. This controller is very responsive compared to the one I was using. I remember reading people saying that they would have some input lag, but I'm really not feeling that here. Other than just being bad at the game. But so far, I'm pretty happy with how this is playing. I will say that the colors are extremely washed out compared to what I'm used to on my RGB Modded NES. And I will be adding in footage of that momentarily for you to compare that to. So now that we've taken a quick look at the NES Classic, let's take a look at my 101 NES top loader that I had RGB modded. So the benefit of the RGB mod, this guy originally only had an RF connector, so RGB puts in the multi-out connector found on like the Super Nintendo and 64 GameCube. There's also a switch right here that lets you select different color palettes, so you can choose between the original NES color palette, the Play Choice arcade machine color palette. That one's really weird. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. And then there's also an enhanced color palette, which looks really awesome. And I'm gonna show off mostly the enhanced, but with Super Mario Brothers 3, I will show off all 3 different palettes. So let's see how that NES Classic compares to an RGB modded NES running through a FrameMeister. Alright, so here's Super Mario Brothers 3 running on my RGB modded NES 101. And this is actually the enhanced color palette that I was talking about. So, as you can see, things are a little more differentiated. Now we'll switch up the color palettes here real quick while there's a few things on screen. So this is the original NES color palette. And I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it is kind of bland. And then we have the Play Choice 10 color palette, and this one is just nuts. Like, everything just turns a vastly different color, and it's weird. But yeah, this enhanced color palette, I just really like how it just gives everything just that little bit of extra color. And that's just a personal thing for me. I mean, someone probably won't like this color palette, but hey, you know, that's why there's a switch, so you can change it between them, and I killed myself. Like I've always said, I'm not here to show off skills, I'm just here to have a good time. But yeah, so Super Mario Brothers 3 running through an RGB modded 101 NES, and as you can see, it looks practically the same, if not a little bit better because of the enhanced colors. But now I'm going to swap between quite a few different NES games that were included on the NES Classic that I happen to have copies of on the real NES, and do side by side so you can check them out. So now that we've seen kind of a graphics comparison between the RGB top loader and the NES Classic, let's talk about price and why you would want to choose either option. So NES Classic, of course, is now scalper's paradise. It's going for $250 plus on Amazon, eBay. Yeah, that's kind of expensive when you stop to think about it, but is it really? I mean, think of the games that are coming with it. You've got Mega Man 2, Mario 3, Castlevania, Final Fantasy. These games aren't exactly cheap anymore. Mega Man 2, last I checked, is still going for $60 alone. I mean, even if you were to get all of these games on, say, Wii Virtual Console, Wii U Virtual Console, that's still $5 a pop. That's 30 games times 550. So even that's probably going to be your best bet if you're looking for a good price on these games, if you actually wanted to get all 30 of them. Now, for my RGB top loader, the system itself cost me around $100 because it's actually a little bit more on the rare side. And I just like the form factor. I mean, you can get an RGB modded original front-loading toaster, and that's also an option, but the RGB mod itself is still pretty pricey. That cost me, I believe, $180 to get that done to this. So, in total, I believe this NES cost me about $300. So why did I do that? Well, one, I capture videos and I upload them to YouTube, so I want the best possible quality out of my system. So not only is the RGB mod required for that, I need the FrameMeister. And I'm not going to unplug that right now because it's buried like knee deep in wires at the moment, but that also is a necessary part to get the picture out of this for video capture. So the FrameMeister cost another $400, and that was honestly a really tough investment for me to swallow at the time, just because it's $400. But I use that thing on everything. I use it on NES. I use it on SNES. If you saw that Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 video I just put up. I use it on my N64, my original Xbox, my PS2, my PS1, the Sega, the PS3 sometimes. I even use it on the PS3 because it just puts it at that 1080 and it's easier. And the Wii looks great through that thing. So with how much I use it and how much content I made out of it, it has more than paid itself off. But if you're just looking to play NES games, it's not going to be something you're going to want to bite out of. I mean, an RGB modded NES connected to a CRT, that's still a really good option. It looks freaking beautiful. But again, this is still $300. $250. And with this, you still have to buy individual games. So that's $300, $60, $20, $50. Like, you're looking $1,000 or more just to get what you get from this. So, in all honesty, while I may not think this looks as pretty as this does, this is still a really viable option for people that just want to play some NES. So, would I pay a scalper price for this if I was just going to play games and I didn't have them already? Heck yeah. Like, it sucks. It sucks I couldn't get it for $60. Like, if I had to pay a scalper price, like, that would still suck, but it's still the cheapest option available outside of just buying all 30 games on the virtual console. But even then, you're only saving, what, $100 and you don't get a cool little console with it? So, just thought I would share my thoughts on that. Hope you all enjoyed this video. And keep checking back. I'm planning on having a few more reviews. Might do a couple more comparison videos. I'm kind of liking these things now that I've started them. So leave a comment below, tell me what you think, and we'll see you next time.